This is the Patriots Prayer Network, where truth matters.
Alexandra with Alexandra 360 coming to you live 2 days before Thanksgiving. I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone who's celebrating all over the country and the world. Breaking news, everybody. Special counsel Jack Smith, and we have that right up here. Special counsel Jack Smith moves to drop Trump election documents, cases citing categorical DOJ policy. There we go. Special counsel Jack Smith moves to drop Trump election documents, cases citing, quote, categorical DOJ policy. And that's because President Trump won re-election. He will be back in that White House January 20th of 2025. And all of a sudden, the special counsel, Jack Smith, is going away. Also, breaking news, Judge Merchan in New York has indefinitely adjourned what was to be the president-elect's Tuesday sentencing. So today, President Trump was supposed to be sentenced to probably years in jail under Judge Merchan, but Judge Merchan postponed that sentencing because now he is the president-elect, and Judge Merchan has allowed Trump's attorneys permission to push a motion to dismiss this because President Trump is now the president-elect. So now there is a motion to dismiss everything that Judge Merchan has done to get rid of, annihilate, remove the 34 fake convictions against President Trump. So President Trump's name is cleared. His record is cleared. He can go vote for himself. He can be the President Trump that he always was and that we always knew. President Trump was never a convicted felon. President Trump did nothing wrong. We know these were 34 fake convictions. There's actually one fake conviction that was written 34 times by Alvin Bragg. And we're also seeing that Mr. Alvin Bragg has no credibility. There's actually a Republican woman that has come out in force to run against him in his reelection. And that is what has to happen, folks. We have to weed out the weeds out of the Democrat Party, the Republican Party, get them out. Because what these people have done is they've destroyed justice as we know it. There was no law and order under these men because they were completely going against the Constitution of the United States of America. And they were hurting a, number one, duly elected president because he was duly elected in 2020. But they were also hurting a man that all he wanted to do was save our country. And now we the people fought back. We took back our country by voting for President Trump on November 5th. And now he is going to be the president again. I always considered him the president. I never call him former. I've always said President Trump since 2016 and beyond. Now President Trump is going back into that White House January 20th, 2025. But this all talks about why we need law and order back in this country and how President Trump has saved law and order, how he took a bullet for us and how we need him and how the American people knew that we needed him back in the White House and how President Trump is going to go back in and fix the criminal justice system. And again, bring law and order back to this country. That's why it's very important who his attorney general is. It's very important that he put in my good friend Thomas Homan, who's now going to be the border czar. He put or Kristi Noem, he appointed her as the DHS secretary, and many, many others. And Stephen Miller, he runs the America First Policy Institution, AFPI, with his whole team. We need proper people in there that A, have President Trump's back, but also know law and order and know the law and know the Constitution. And Judge Merchan and Alvin Bragg abused their power. And there's actually a definition of abuse of power. And I'll read it to you guys. So abuse of power means, by definition, the misuse of a position of power to take unjust advantage of individuals, which is President Trump, organizations, which is the Trump organization that they tried to take down, or governments. That is what Judge Merchan and Alvin Bragg did. Abuse of power. They misused their power. The misuse of a position of power to take unjust advantage of individuals, which was President Trump and his family, his organization, or governments. This is something serious, guys. This is something very serious. And if it can happen to President Trump, it can happen to anyone. I have such great friends, very conservative friends that run for office or in political office today. You don't think they've been accused of things that they've never done? Or God forbid, I haven't witnessed this before, but there's a lot of good people out there that are thrown into jail for crimes that they've never committed. I mean, this is serious. Judge Merchan and Alvin Bragg were trying to put President Trump in jail. Their goal was to make sure that he didn't win on November 5th, and they were going to sentence him today, 2 days before Thanksgiving, and say, thanks to everybody, we put President Trump in jail. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank God that we the people voted against this. Thank God that we the people voted for law and order. Thank God that we're going to have proper people in the White House and in the cabinet that actually give a darn about our country and that are going to get our country back on track. And I want us to all have a nice Thanksgiving, and we'll talk about it later, but I just want to say this early in the program, that when you go to Thanksgiving, it's a time to be with your family. It should be a love fest in the room. My friend Seth Eisenberg, who's coming on later on the Conservative Corner, he talked about on Sunday how we shouldn't even discuss politics, and I agree with him. Because Thanksgiving is a come-together moment. We're thanking God, we're thanking our family, we're thanking our friends for coming together on this wonderful day. And that's what it should be about. But depending on what type of political family you have, like my family is all Republican, and we're going to talk about how great it is to have President Trump in there. But if you do have some liberals in your family, like I'm actually going up to Massachusetts, half my family is conservative, half of them are liberal, we may not discuss politics because it could get heated. But we're all together as a family. We're all together and we're all giving thanks. But the whole point is that President Trump unified this nation. He reached across the aisle. He talked to minorities. He talked to Hispanics, Native Americans, Black, Jews, gays, trans. He talked to everybody. He went to the Bitcoin industry, the people that are running Bitcoin. He went to the union workers, the teachers' unions. People that you would never think would vote for a Republican or even vote for Trump did this time around because they saw under Biden and Kamala Harris where this country was headed, and it was headed down a wrong path, a path of socialism. And people looked at their wallets. I don't know about you, but turkeys were really expensive this year. And if you keep kosher like I do, it's double and triple the price. Even ham is getting very expensive from what my friends have told me. So again, President Trump brought back law and order to this country. He's going to bring it back after he gets sworn in January 20th. But we need to understand the abuse of power and how we cannot have these liberal judges in power, these liberal attorney generals. We have Democrats who are trying to push their own type of judges, like the same Judge Merchans of the world right now before Trump gets in. And when President Trump was the president in 2016, what did Mitch McConnell do? He pushed all his rhino friends in as judges. Bush appointees, these are all rhinos. That's why we have to weed the rhinos out of Congress and out of this country and weed out the Democrats, especially the socialist Democrats. And don't be afraid to call out people that do not have our best interests at heart. Our country's at stake, and we cannot be complicit. The people that voted for President Trump, we cannot be complicit. We have to say to the elected officials, you work for us, we don't work for you, and hold them to a higher standard and expect them to do for we the people. Mitch McConnell doesn't do for we the people. the new Senate Majority Leader John Thune doesn't do for we the people. No way. And just because Judge Burson's in New York and Alvin Bragg is in New York doesn't mean that a Republican can't win. Or maybe try to primary them out. Get a moderate Democrat in there. Or get what they call a dino, Democrat in name only. I have a lot of friends in New York that were Republican, moderate Republicans. They switched parties to Democrat, but they never stopped believing in what they originally believed in. They never just foregone their principles and hardcore beliefs. You can still keep your principles and hardcore beliefs. But they did it because they knew that that was the way for to get their district or their county back on track. But it's very, very important. It's very important that we have the right people in office, but it's also very important that we get our country back on track. For example, I just went to a swearing in Hagerstown. My friend William McIntyre, Republican, he is the new mayor of Hagerstown. And it was so great to see him get sworn in. And then he swore in everybody that won, Hagerstown City Council. And there's 5 on the Hagerstown City Council. And there's only 1 Republican on the Hagerstown City Council, my friend Sean Flaherty. And the reason that Sean won and the reason that Bill McIntyre won is they crossed the aisle. They talked to independents, they talked to Democrats. And all the Democrats in their district agreed that the crime and the drugs in Hagerstown is a problem and needs to be fixed. My elected official friend who was just on the Bearded Patriot, Tim Eisenberg, he was with me at the swearing in, and he was driving in front of me, and we both, we were on the phone with each other, and we both were calling out the drug addicts that were literally on the highway and on the roads and on the streets. One lady was literally shooting up heroin in her foot at 8 o'clock at night. No police were coming to arrest her, just openly doing drugs right on the street there. And he and I saw a lot of crack whores and a lot of people doing drugs right in that open area, going into the city hall right before we were about to see our friends get sworn in. That is why William McIntyre won. That is why Sean Flaherty won. To clean up the crime. Law and order. When you have people in office that don't abide by the rules and don't abide by the laws, you get havoc in your cities. I saw it in Tallahassee before Governor DeSantis won governor. The former mayor of Tallahassee, Andrew Gillum, allowed people to do drugs all over Tallahassee in open daylight. As I was driving to the inauguration of my governor, I saw, again, people snorting crack cocaine on the sidewalks. There was 2 police cars in front of me. You think they would go out and arrest them? No, because the mayor tells them to stand down. Because when you have a horrible Democrat socialist mayor in there or a liberal mayor, bad things happen and they turn a blind eye. They just collect their check and they don't care. And the mayor of Hagerstown doesn't make that much money, neither does the Hagerstown City Council members either. But they're elected officials and they have a job to do. And their job is to lower the crime, lower the drugs, get people off the street, help the homeless. I could not believe what I saw last night. That's why I'm so happy and grateful that the people of Hagerstown voted to put William McIntyre in as the mayor and voted to put my friend Sean Flaherty in as the newest Hagerstown City Councilman. Because I know those 2 gentlemen will get the job done. And the other 4 people on the city council will work with Sean and Bill and get the job done too. Or they will be voted out. But again, going back to the beginning of this, abuses of power. Look how far President Trump has come along. He beat all of this. These people wanted to put him in jail. These people tried to kill him. And God knows what they want to do between now and January. So we all have to stand by President Trump and support him and back him no matter what. One thing I do want to mention, which is very interesting, is that his son, Don Jr., tweeted out today that the president may remove mainstream media outlets from the White House briefing room and give the passes to independent journalist institutions. Well, what is Alexandra 360, Patriots Prayer Network, everybody else on our network? We're independent journalists. I would love to be in that White House briefing room. And even Don Jr. said it would be great to have Joe Rogan in that White House briefing room. That would be great. Because as you know, the mainstream media, they report falsely. They have this Caitlin Collins woman of CNN. She's their chief senior correspondent at the White House now. She's horrible. She's the one that was debating Trump, and she was nasty, and he called her a nasty woman. She really looks like a man, to be honest with you. But she's nasty. We can't have nasty reporters misrepresenting what they do. They're not real journalists. They're opinion pieces. They're biased reporters. We can't have that anymore. We're done with that. And it's funny because my father mentioned this, that maybe President Trump won't have mainstream media in the White House briefing room anymore. He's hashtag had enough. So I agree with him. Let's put independent journalists in there. Because we will tell the truth. And more people are listening to us than ABC, NBC, and even Fox News. I don't think people listen to The View anymore. That's ABC. I don't think people listen to CNN anymore. I haven't listened to CNN in years. Have you? And let me pose the question to my audience. Do you agree with Don Jr. that we should have independent journalists go into the White House briefing room? Or would you still like to see Peter Doocy in there from Fox News? Or someone, or Caitlin from CNN? Or someone from MSNBC or ABC? Or, I mean, Newsmax is fine. They're considered mainstream media. They're a little bit more conservative than most. Or would you prefer Joe Rogan in there? Or Joe Rogan types in there to report fairly and to have real people on their podcasts? Because let me tell you something, podcasts are doing really well nowadays. They skyrocketed during the pandemic, and now they've skyrocketed even more. Because I'll be honest with you, the people that have done the podcasts are the ones that helped President Trump get elected and gave President Trump a voice and reported fairly. So I applaud our network for doing that, and I applaud all independent journalists out there doing that and continue to do it every single day. Well, coming back right after the break, we do have a special guest, independent journalist, Seth Eisenberg from the Conservative Corner. He's coming up. We're going to talk a little bit about Maryland politics, and we're also going to talk more about law and order, and we'll be right back after the break.
Do you have old home videotapes that you're no longer able to watch? Need them transferred to DVD, Blu-ray, or your smart device? Baltimore Digital offers professional-grade VHS, mini DV, and high 8 digitizing services. We can also convert Super 8mm film too. Baltimore Digital also provides photo restoration services. Visit archive.baltimoredigital.net. Mention code Alexandra for a 10% introductory discount.
And that is our good friend, Adam Reuter. He is a media producer, but go to Baltimore Digital. He's one of our great sponsors. And we have another Patriots Prayer Network buddy, Seth Eisenberg from the Conservative Corner, every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Woo! Fellow Jew, I love it.
Tribesman, fellow tribesman.
Fellow tribesmen. So, going back to the beginning of my segment, Seth, about law and order, you're dealing with the mayor of Frederick, Maryland right now. He was big in the news. There was a big story in the news. Talk about the law and order with Judge Merchan and Alvin Bragg compared to the law and order that's happening in your city of Frederick, Maryland.
Well, Michael O'Connor is the only jellyfish I've ever seen in my life that walks upright. He's a punk, and he's a sissy, and he's anything you can think of. He does what he does to pander for votes. I don't think he truly believes in half of the stuff he says, but I think he thinks he can get votes for it. He wants to use taxpayer money to defend possible deportation of illegal immigrants in Frederick City. So if you live in Frederick City and you're paying taxes and you see businesses closing and drug addicts at the canal and crime is on the rise, all those things are not as important as making sure that illegal immigrants get good legal defense and are kept in this city because they're more important than the legal citizens of Frederick County. That's what he's saying. He's pretty much spitting on everybody else and helping them. And the poll I think they did a a poll on what he said, 58% of the people don't agree with him. So I want him to keep talking because he's talking himself out of a job. So I don't want him to be quiet.
And, in your state, for example, you're one of the states that does not require photo ID, to vote. And unfortunately, the states that didn't require photo ID are the states that Kamala Harris won.
Yep.
And of course, President Trump wants to change that and require everyone to have photo ID. And you had school board races there. You had a CD6 race that should have flipped and didn't. Do you think that these illegals had something to do with those elections, and had something to do with Frederick County in general? Because Frederick County used to be very red, and you see living there, it's gone to purple, and now it's even migrating to blue a little bit. What say you about that?
I don't know if they had a direct influence on it. I think don't get me wrong. There is underhandedness in every election. I don't think it's just a recent thing. I think it's been going on for decades. And just now, since there's more access to information, we're finding out about it more and more and more. So I don't think that there's nothing wrong with the elections. In Frederick, I don't know if I would go so far as to say the illegals had anything to do with it. Maybe people who support them, the other morons out there that see no problem with criminals doing what they want to do, maybe they kind of voted for them, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not going to vote for Trump because he's going to deport you. I'll vote for this person as your proxy. I'll act as your proxy and vote for these people. I think they might have influenced a little bit. Do I think some of them voted? Sure. I can almost guarantee some of them voted some way, but I don't think there was enough turnout by them to cause any crazy outcomes. But I do believe there was some crap going on. There always is, but I don't think they were involved as much now. But you give it time, they're going to start becoming a force. And that's what the Democrats want. They want these people voting for them.
But why do these mayors think it's cool to kowtow to illegals, to cater to them? There's even delegates and elected officials that have voted for amnesty for illegals. They voted for health care for illegals. Why is it so important that we keep the illegals happy, but we, the American people, are suffering?
Well, the way I look at it is the Democrats and the politicians that support that, they don't like America. They fundamentally do not like this country. They do not like what we stand for. They do not like the Constitution. They do not like laws. So the only way they can change that is they get enough people to vote for them and give them that authority and that power to change things. And that's what they want to do. And I don't understand why. I mean, they're missing the point that there's a reason they're coming to this country now. There's a reason they're trying to get in. And it's not because of what they want to do. It's because of what's going on now. The people realize this is the best, most effective way to change your life in a positive way from any other country, especially third world country. No one's trying to break into Venezuela. No one's trying to sneak into Brazil. No one's trying to sneak into China. They're all coming here. And they need to keep that in mind. And more to the point, they need to stop slapping the people in the face who came here legally. That's not fair to them. Letting these people just slide in is like telling the people, yeah, you did what you're supposed to. You followed the law. You're an idiot. You shouldn't have done it. We're going to let them slide in, suck it up, princess. It's not fair to them. They stood in line. They filled out the paperwork. They took the test. They did everything they were supposed to. It's not fair to them to let somebody cut in front of line and just jump in. And for no other reason, that's why I don't like illegal immigration. It's not fair to the people that follow the rule of law.
Wasn't it interesting, Seth, that now we have a huge migrant caravan coming in to the United States from Mexico? It's on its way right before Trump takes his oath of office.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that interesting? What say you about that? Are they doing that because to try to make President Trump's life and job harder, to make Thomas Homan's life and job harder and Kristi Noem's job harder? Is that why they're doing this?
Oh, they're going to do whatever they can to gum up the works between now and that day. They're going to do whatever they can to make it that much more difficult for expedient transfer of power. If there's a lot of crap going on, things are going to slow down. They're going to have to address things. And that's why they're doing it. I mean, and if you look at that migrant march coming up to the border, they're dressed better than I am. They've got the new iPhones and they're all well fed. They've got water. That's not just a bunch of people that got together and said, look, we need to make our lives better. That's a bunch of political activists or people that have been paid to do that. There's not a legitimate person in that group. They're doing this to make a statement. And that's what the purpose is, to make a statement, to try to make it harder for Trump just to step in and start running things. He's going to have to deal with this immediately. He won't have time to work at other things. And that's why they did it, to kind of slow everything up and make it difficult for him. And they're going to keep doing it as long as they can.
And also, as you know, we have a huge fentanyl issue in this country. these drug cartels, they're bringing fentanyl across the border, but also these illegals that are coming in, they're working behind the scenes with the drug cartels to bring the fentanyl into this country. And then, of course, American citizens, unfortunately, get a hold of this fentanyl, and a lot of them die, especially young kids. And that is a huge problem. And I know that Thomas Homan is trying to work on that. Now, my question to you is, Seth, now that this big migrant caravan is coming in with the drugs, how is Thomas Homan and the president going to stop all these drugs pouring into the country?
Okay, let's say I was in charge. Let's say they said, hey, Seth, we got an issue with fentanyl and the cartels. You have a magic wand. We're going to do whatever you say, and we're going to do it. Number one, police department and federal law enforcement can't compete with the cartels. They don't have the money. The cartels are some of the richest businesses in the world. They have unlimited funds. They've got people who will die for them because they've got uneducated farmers that either make 2 cents a year digging ditches or make $50 a day shooting people and running drugs. So they have an unlimited supply of soldiers. The only way, and this is my opinion, and people are don't have to agree with me, that's fine. We have to treat them like an enemy country. We have to use the military. We have to attack them. We have to treat them like enemy combatants because they are just as well armed, and some of them are just as well trained as our Marines. And if we send police officers and FBI agents and DEA guys, and I'm not knocking them, they do a great job. They're outgunned, they're outmanned, and they don't have the finances to keep up with them. We need to treat them like an enemy army and go at them. Stop letting them come here and then reacting. We have to act and cause them to react. And if that means we got to send special forces into Colombia or wherever they're at and do strategic strikes, then that's what we got to do. We need to put the fear of this country into their brains so they realize that every time one of our citizens die, we're going to kill 100 of your people, or we're going to blow up 20 of your factories, and we will not stop until you do, or we've killed you all. It's that simple.
Well, what's mind-boggling to me is if I'm an illegal immigrant and I'm, wanting to come to America, and I see President Trump is reelected, and he's got the border czar Thomas Homan back in with Kristi Noem, wouldn't that deter me from coming in, knowing that Thomas Homan is a bulldog and he'll get you out immediately?
Well, I think a lot of them are under the impression, hey, these are politicians. They're just going to run their mouth. They're trying to get favor. They're trying to be liked. They're just trying to get more votes. They're really not going to do anything because they've dealt with Biden and moron Harris for the last 4 years. So they don't know any better. That's the example they have right now. Oh, they didn't do anything. They talked a lot. They're doing the same thing. When we get there, they're going to let us in. It's fine. And if not, they're going to put us in jail. We'll be better off in an American jail than a jail down here. So either way, we're going to win. That's their frame of mind. And they also think all these woke jellyfish sheep are going to be dead. No, you can't put them in jail. You got to let them in. It's not illegal to be a human. All these morons will come out to help them. And I think when they get here, they're going to be sorely disappointed because things are going to be changed. And it's not that we don't want immigration. If you want to come here legally, I'll help you. And I understand that the whole process is a pain in the butt, but that's by design. We don't want just anybody coming in going, hey, I want to be an American citizen. Well, what can you do for us? Nothing. I just want to be here. Oh, that's fine. Come on in. It needs to be a challenge. It needs to be a pain in the butt. And if you do it legally, I'll help them. You'd help them. Anybody would help them. It's just when you decide that, hey, I'm better than the law. I'm better than everybody else that followed the rules. I'm just going to come in. You better let me in. That's where we got a problem.
And also, Thomas Homan said all of these mayors and these city councilmen and these county executives that are harboring illegals, he's going to arrest them. He's going to arrest them. Anybody that harbors an illegal, he's going to arrest them. And he will make sure that you are fired from your position. Your mayor of Frederick, Maryland, he should be fired, in my opinion, or somebody should be trying to get him out of office. What he's doing is disgusting. It's illegal. He's harboring illegals. He wants us, actually you, because you're a taxpayer in Frederick County, he wants you to pay for these illegals. And that's not right. And that's against the law. Let's see about that.
Put him in jail. At the very least, if I were Mr. Homan and this was going on, the mayor said, I'm going to do this. You can't stop me. You know what? You're right. I'm not getting into a pissing contest with you. I'm not going to go back and forth. I'm cutting off all your federal funding.
Yeah.
I'm going to take away the certification for your law enforcement department. That way your police can enforce no laws because they're no longer certified. They can't even write a goddamn speeding ticket. We'll see who blinks first. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you in a week, you're going to be calling me and begging me to come get these people and reinstate your accreditation and start the money flowing back in because people are knocking down your door now and they're bitching and moaning. You got no answers. That's what I would do. I mean, yeah, if you can lock them up, lock them up. But if that becomes a pain in the butt, cut off the money.
Yep.
Just be done with it. Like, you know what? We're not giving you any more money. Oh, we don't care. Okay, talk to me in a week.
Exactly. And I know on your show you talked about this man, but I want you to educate my audience on Sheriff Chuck Jenkins and the type. And again, we're talking about law and order and how Sheriff Chuck Jenkins, he abides by the law, the Constitution. Constitution. Can even say hello. It's like,
you to say.
Constitution. Hello, it's like my brain is going like this. But anyway, and you know, the vitriol that man had to go through, and how he wasn't allowed to carry, and they tried to take him away from his position, and he just won a huge lawsuit. I mean, the judge, you know, said he's, you know, dismissed the case, said he's good to go, and you know, talk a little bit about that to my audience about Sheriff Chuck Jenkins and the hell, I can't even speak now, and the hell that he had to go through, you know, to kind of, you know. Again, getting back to law and order. And I think a lot of that has to do with Trump getting back in office with Thomas Homan and Kristi Noem, and how we need to have, you know, those type of sheriffs all over this nation. And we really don't have them.
I'm not sure if your viewers know or not. My father's retired police officer, did almost 20 years in PG County, back when it was the OK Corral, when it was crazy down there. So I am pro police officer. I'm pro law enforcement. I'm not under the illusion that everybody behind the badge should be behind the badge. I'm not saying that. I'm saying until you can prove it, I support them. Sheriff Jenkins is the sheriff of Frederick County. I think he's been the sheriff of Frederick County as long as I can remember. He was attacked. And apparently, since the charges have been dropped, falsely accused of some things. And I don't want to get into that because I don't want to bring it back up. What's done, it's in the past. He has enforced the laws in Frederick County in a way that they should be enforced. I don't know anybody, white, black, Spanish, that would come to me and say, you know, the Frederick County Sheriff's Department are racist. They're attacking people for no reason. They're doing this because of the color of my skin. I've never heard that. Most of the police officers I know like Sheriff Jenkins. They think he's a very approachable sheriff, and he's more of a cop sheriff than he is like a politician sheriff. The cops like him. They can talk to him. They don't feel like he's talking down to them, and that's important. He supports them. The community loves him for that very reason. He's an approachable person. The Frederick County Conservative Club is a club he's come to a few times. I'm the vice president. I've talked to him, and I've never once felt like I was bothering him or he had no time to speak to me. Very approachable. I like him. I think he does.
Very accessible too.
Yeah, very nice guy. You wouldn't know he was a sheriff unless someone told you, or he was in uniform. You just think he was a normal guy that works a 9 to 5. He's very approachable, and he likes his job, and it shows. I have no problems with him at all. Then again, I've never been on the wrong side of the law, so I'd have no reason to have a problem with him. I do what I'm supposed to, and because my old man is almost 80, but he'd still kick my butt if I was out there acting like a fool and breaking the law, and I'm still scared of him, and he's 80.
Well, I don't think I ever told my viewers this, but I have an uncle who was chief of police in Montgomery County for 35 years. Yeah, so a long time.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. And now he and his wife retired, or my aunt retired in California. I'm like, why would you go there?
Yeah. Well, Montgomery County.
Like,
maybe they're used
Maryland,
to it.
California, which is worse, you know. But they love California.
It's a little bit of California is worse, not much, but by a little.
I'm like, good Lord. But yeah, I mean, again, it's going back to law and order and how we need to have the proper people in office, the proper people who give a darn about we the people. And we had, as we know, and I'm never bringing up this man's name ever again because I don't want to give it credence, but we the people of Maryland, you the people of Maryland, said no to the biggest rhino in Maryland.
Oh yeah.
And that big rhino brought in a lot of illegals, especially into the county that I reside in, Montgomery County. He brought in a lot of Syrian illegal refugees as well as Afghan illegal refugees. And in my opinion, he was toting a lot of illegals for him to get votes, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the man got 73,000 votes in Frederick County. He got more votes than Kamala Harris in Frederick County. I found that very, very odd. And he was nowhere in Frederick County hardly. I mean, you and I were there, you know, helping out on election day for 5 hours. And I mean, Seth, did you see a Hogan person there? Did you see anyone representing Larry Hogan there? And again, I'm not saying his name, the Hogster. No.
Little Larry.
Yeah, good old Larry, lockdown Larry. No. And there was maybe one sign for him. But all of a sudden, he gets 73,000 votes in Frederick County. He gets more votes than Kamala Harris in Frederick County. I found that very odd. But again, it's the rhinos, it's the hardcore socialist Democrats, it's the hardcore liberals that push this, that push for the illegals, that want the illegals because they feel that that's the only way they can win. And that's a way for them to cheat in the election. And they tried to cheat in this election. Kamala Harris, oh my God, that's why Biden was bringing all these illegals in, and it didn't work because it was, quote, too big to rig. Thank God, more minorities kind of came out for President Trump and kind of shut down all the illegals that probably voted for them. Or maybe the illegals decided not to vote for them. Who knows? Maybe they were like, you know what, President Trump, he's really popular and he's going to win. And I feel like I'm going to get deported. So I'm not going to vote. Who knows? I mean, it's ridiculous. But I kind of want to shift the focus a little bit to leadership, changing the leadership around, getting new blood, new fresh blood, into Maryland, because each GOP, and I'm from Florida, I'm still a Floridian, but I've seen multiple different state parties, on state GOP parties, how they've all come together. And there are some rhinos in some of the parties too. But at the end of the day, they all come together as one, and they all win together. They all raise money together. They all build, and everything's good. So with Maryland, President Trump, he's the president, but he didn't win Maryland. No. We didn't win anything federally except for Congressman Andy Harris. He won re-election. He's in a very good, position. His wife is the MD GOP chairwoman. She just won re-election. But it was interesting how she won re-election because she had a challenger. His name is Dirk Hare. And Dirk Hare was the first and the former MD GOP chairman for 6 years. I can just tell the audience, and I talked about this with Tim Faisberger last week, Dirk Hare is Hogan Light. He is a huge rhino. He's an anti-Trumper, never Trumper, and his wife is worse. His wife, Jessica Hare, vehemently hates Donald Trump. She put on her posters when she was running for Anne Arundel County Executive 2 years ago, I do not support President Trump. I've heard her in dinner say, I will never support or back President Trump as the Republican nominee in 2024. And if he does win, he is not my president. I will never support him. So that's Dirk Hare's wife. So this guy wants to come back after he resigns. And we say, what for? He left the party in $113,000 worth of debt. We also found out that there was a woman that I think that worked a fundraiser for him. She was owed $63,000 that he never paid her. So Nicole, unfortunately, has to take the burden of that. Nicole Harris was able to call the woman, negotiate her down from $63,000 to $50,000, and they have her on a payment plan, so they're paying her $1,000 a month. And the MD GOP just switched banks. They were using Truist Bank, now they're using Sandy Springs Bank. And according to Chris Rosenthal, who's the treasurer of the MD GOP was able to pay down all of the debt, so they are now debt-free, but they're only going to have $13,000 by December of this year. And guess what? They can't keep that money because they got to pay back things. And then I find out that it was said, and I found this very odd, and I want your comments on this, Seth, is that, I don't know, I heard that the party is going to be responsible for the candidate's campaign finance debt? Explain that. What say you about that, Seth?
Why? It's like the college tuition debt. It's nobody else's responsibility for that debt except the person who took it on. It's the candidate's problem. It's nobody else's problem. And if you can't manage your campaign and stay within a budget, I am glad you didn't win, because what are you going to do if you get into office? If you can't spend your own money, I don't want you spending mine. So I don't think that should be. What is that? What are we promoting? Hey, don't be physically conservative. We're going to take care of you and bail you out if you get in over your head. Don't worry about it. The party in Maryland can't even keep their own bank account in the positive. They have no business trying to help anybody else at this point. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Republican Party in Maryland needs to be burnt to the ground. It needs to be dismantled to nothing and then rebuilt up with real conservatives and real Republicans that have their head out of their ass and can do things. Not run parties, not make happy hours, not do stupid stuff, but actually get down to the business of getting effective people elected to positions we need them to, and then be good stewards of the money that people give them, that donate to them from working 50, 60 hours a week. If they give you $100, you better be thankful as hell. You better bend over backwards to spend that money correctly. Not go, hey, we're going to pay everybody else's debt. Thanks for loaning it to us. That's why from this county to the state, all the way up from cities in Maryland, the Republican Party is a goddamn joke. It's a joke. And it needs to be fixed, or we're never going to win anything in Maryland. Nothing, ever. I mean, you can in Frederick, Maryland, and ask people, hey, there's a Republican club, a Republican. What? There is? I've never heard of that. People don't know. We need to change that in Maryland. We need to change that across the country. And I hope Trump starts that change. It gives respect back to the Republicans that the states and counties have lost because they want to do stupid stuff like that, like pay the candidate's debt off. Pay my debt off. I got a mortgage. Pay that off.
Yeah, and the MDGOP, I mean, the only debt that they should be responsible of is debt that they take on themselves, like for any recounts or any legal stuff. But to pay off somebody else's campaign, no. I've never heard of that before in my life. Nobody is responsible for anyone's mismanagement of his or her finances. Correct. And to do a whole email spread, asking people to pay off your debt. The election's over. Like, unfortunately, you lost. It sucks that you lost, but you should have money aside, put away in case you do go into debt. You need to have that extra. I'm just putting out a number of $50,000 or even $200,000 put aside. So if you do have that debt, you're able to pay that back on your own. Or if you have a spouse with you, you and your spouse work together to pay off that debt together.
I mean, I can't imagine running for office knowing the average citizen's financial hardship right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm struggling. I have a hard time paying my mortgage month to month. To have the audacity for the party to go, hey, we know everybody's struggling. You've donated money to us to help, to promote these people and get them elected. We're going to pay off their debt. We know you had to work 50, 60 hours to donate that money to us. We don't give a shit. We're going to go ahead and pay off this rich guy who obviously can't control his own money, doesn't know what they're doing. We're going to pay his debt off with your money. But make sure you keep donating to us. Keep working those 60 hours a week. Keep giving us that money so we can throw these parties and pay off these other people's debt. If I donated to the party in this state, I would be livid. I would be livid, and I would want my money back.
Because the whole point of people donating to the state is to help the state grow, to help the state get wins across the board. But to know that they're giving our money, our donated money to people that lost, it's like, how do we win then? How do we move forward from this? Where do we go from here? And also, the Central Committee members are up for re-election in 2 years. And I know that there's a lot of people that are going to primary at a lot of these Central Committee members. But I can tell you, one of the biggest jobs of a Central Committee member is to recruit candidates, to recruit proper candidates, and to present them to the MDGOP. And I'll tell you, there's some people that I've talked to, because as you all know, I'm a political consultant. I own my own political consulting firm, levineconsulting.co. If anybody's interested, please reach out to me. And a lot of people have, not just in Maryland, but all over this great nation, because I work nationwide.
Cool deal.
But some of these people, these Central Committee members, they're just giving me names of the same people that have lost year after year after year. Even Hoganites, they're giving me names of people that love Larry Hogan. And I'm like, wait a minute. The people of Maryland rejected Larry Hogan. Why are we rounding ourselves, or why are we even thinking about supporting somebody that supported a loser, Larry Hogan, and that the people rejected? That again, why are we dividing the party even more than it was divided under Larry Hogan? The whole point is to unite the party. And again, the party was united when Dirk Kerr decided to drop out of the race. Nicole Harris is the chairwoman again. She and her husband are very America first. They do support Trump. They do agree with President Trump. President Trump has endorsed Congressman Andy Harris many times. Yeah. We have a new vice chair now. Richard Osborne is the new first vice chair. I met him. I heard he's very good at fundraising, and he's very America first himself. He went down to Mar-a-Lago, took a picture of President Trump, met him many times. And then we have a new MD vice chair in the third position, Rich Collins. I've heard a little bit about him. I know he did support Hogan, but I don't think he's in love with Hogan. But I feel that, he, in my opinion, will get the ball rolling too for the party, and we'll see how he does. And I know that Nicole is watching her new board closely to see if they'll fundraise, to see if they'll help get some wins and help the party grow. But if you're a Central Committee member and you're throwing this guy at me that lost 5 times, and this guy at me that keeps running, and this person who loves Hogan, and this person who's really a Democrat, That's not how that's not how we're going to win. Go outside the box, like you're doing, like I'm doing, like your club is doing, like Tim Fazenbaker's doing, like my friend John Fitzgerald in Allegheny County is doing. And we're talking to outsiders. We're talking to everyday people. We're talking to people that know the office, that really care about this country, that have a knowledge of the office, and have money to put into their campaign so they don't go into heavy campaign debt, but also are starting to build a name for themselves. And people that aren't just waking up and saying, hey, I think I'm going to run for office. No, it's real people with real ideas, with real solutions. There's nothing wrong with going outside the box. Yeah. Why do we keep having to hover around the same people year after year after year after year? What say you about that, Seth?
I can really only speak to Maryland because that's where I live. And again, I'm about to say something that will explain to everybody why the Republican Party hates me, and I don't care. In Maryland, the Republican Party has a loser's mentality. They've never won enough to get that mentality of what it's like to win and how to win. They've lost so much that they accept it now. That's part of who they are. They are losers. So a loser will find a loser and promote a loser because they don't know any better. That's all they know is losing. They eat, sleep, drink, and watch losing. That's why I keep saying this party needs to be dismantled to the ground. Get rid of these losers that all they know how to do is lose. Get winners. Like you're saying, people that aren't going, we need to have a politician. We need people to think, hey, anybody can run. We need to find the best candidate to run for this position. Let's go look. And we're not just going to look over here. We're going to look everywhere because I guarantee you there's more people out here than over here that can do this. Let's go talk to them. Let's stop being incestuous and running the same people over and over and over again because we're getting tired of it. And I'm sure there's other states that feel the same way. But you can't continually reelect losers to central committees or the party in Maryland and then expect them to become winners. It's not going to happen. A loser is a loser, and there will always be a loser. Get some winners in there.
Yeah, and I've watched like the California GOP, how they've grown, how they flipped a lot of seats from D to R. The Oregon GOP has grown. Massachusetts even has a GOP that's grown. Like I said, I'm from Florida. We have a new GOP chairman. He's growing, the party. And I hate to tell my audience, everybody, but Florida will be controlling this country come in January because look at all the people from Florida that are going to be in the cabinet and people that are from Florida going to be working in the White House with President Trump. So you better start like in Florida, everybody. I don't want anybody complaining that it's too hot and whatever because Florida is taking over this country. There's a reason because the economy is very good in Florida. We don't pay state income tax in Florida, but also we have come together in Florida. We really, really have. And we're rebuilding too in Florida. We really are. We're rebuilding and reshaping. But that's what we need, especially in Maryland, in your state. You need a complete makeover of the entire party. I'm very hopeful of the new GOP. I'm very hopeful of the new board, the two new vice chairs that were voted in. I'm very hopeful. I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and I want to give these two new gentlemen, Rich Collins and Richard Osborne, the benefit of the doubt. And like I said, Nicole Harris has been trying to unify this party since, she took it over. She did everything she could to take the party out of debt. And hopefully, again, it's up to her and the board to raise the money and to get the party on the up and up. And of course, it's up to her, the MDGOP, and the RNC committee chairman and chairwoman with the central committees. It is their job to get some wins. But again, the central committees, it is their job to vet proper candidates and to get the candidates across the aisle to win. I mean, I was talking earlier about Sean Flaherty and Bill McIntyre. They did a lot of their campaigning and everything on their own. They didn't really get a lot of help. They didn't really use a lot of help. They won because they made a name for themselves, because they went out there, they crossed the aisle. They did it on their own. And even in Frederick County, where you are with the school board, with Jamie Brennan and Colt Black, they They had some help, but they did a lot of it on their own as well. And and Colt, he's very strong with his family, and I know he wanted to combat the CRT and combat the gender identity, and he's Jewish like we are, and his whole family is, and he wanted to bring back those Judeo-Christian values back into the classroom. And he and I are going to be working on school curriculum in Frederick. Making it mandated to teach the Holocaust in Frederick County, because that needs to happen instead of teaching all this other crap, this other crap. But they won on their own merit because they built their own name. And Jamie Brennan works with Moms for Liberty, and that's an entity unto themselves.
Yep.
And that was the thing. A lot of people are saying in Maryland, for the wins, you start at the local level and then you go up.
Oh, heck yes.
These Democrats, like Johnny O, for example, Johnny Oshefsky was a delegate. Then he was the county executive, and guess what? Now he's a new congressman in CD2. So that's how they get started. They get started on the local level, state and local level, and they just go up. And in my opinion, I feel like that's what what the Republicans in Maryland need to do. Start from the bottom and then work your way up. Don't just go straight to Congress. Don't just go straight to governor. Don't just go straight to Senate. No, you need to start from the ground up and work your way up. What say you about that?
Oh, I agree. I think people in Maryland and Frederick County are holding out hope that we're going to get strong leadership. So I hope the people you've mentioned are strong. I hope they don't turn out to be the cocktail hour Republicans, because that's all we've had. That's all we got.
They will be called out. They will be called out. They will be
good. That's what needs to happen.
We have to do it. These mayors and the city councilmen and the rhinos, they all need to be called out. Anybody, any Republican, Democrat, or independent in the state legislature that voted for amnesty for illegals, healthcare for illegals, that voted for the highest tax cut in Maryland, they need to be out. They need to be out. And the voters remember, and we as the voters will continue to pump that information out. Because that is not right. That is going against the will of the people. Those people that voted for Kerwin, oh my God, they need to be voted out. Even, oh my God, Kerwin.
And even add anybody who supported Hogan, they got to go. They got to go. I mean, if you're not smart enough to realize Hogan was a rhino, or you just don't care, you don't need to be a Republican. Change party, go be the Democrats. But you need to lead the Republican Party. And if you don't have enough sense and integrity to do it on your own, we need to vote you out and be done with you. We need to stop.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, we need to stop being nice to these people. Nice hasn't gotten us anywhere. Nice has gotten us going backwards. Now we got to gain back, and that we shouldn't have to.
We need to stop bashing Trump. We need to stop saying, oh, he's got mean tweets and he's a terrible person and he's orange and all this stuff. No, he is the head of our party. We must respect him. We must honor him. We must do for him. We must protect him. We must push his agenda forward, because he's only one man and he needs us. So enough of, people dissing Donald Trump. It's enough. It's not enough the backstabbing. The Senate rhinos that are trying to not allow President Trump's appointments to go through,
I know.
Vote them all out. Vote them all out. It's disgusting. They want to hurt they hurt Matt Gaetz. They want to hurt Pete Hegseth, who's a good man. Then they want to hurt RFK Jr. For HHS secretary. They just want to hurt anybody who really wants to help this country. They want to hurt because, oh my God, it's change. Oh my God, they want to change the status quo. Oh my God, want to take out the DOJ and the deep state and the FBI and God forbid, because it ruins their image. Also, I just want to make the point that the special interests and the lobbyists are detriments to our nation. They're all Democrats. They're all on Capitol Hill, and they control the power of the purse. They make a lot of money. They make $500,000 to a year. It's not the political consultants that are the problem. A lot of people, they crap on political consultants. Not all of us are crap. I'm one of them. I'm not crap. I own my own entity. I'm not run by Democrats and New York lobbyists and whatever, because some political consultants are run by lobbyists and special interest firms. I'm not one of them. But the special interests and the lobbyists in this country are the ones that are hurting this country. They're the ones that are controlling the Mitch McConnells, the Chuck Schumers, and the ones that are trying to hurt Trump's appointments. They need to be called out as well. They totally need to be called out. But we have a few minutes left. It is Thanksgiving, as you know, and I want a beautiful Thanksgiving message to everybody. Again, I'm going to remind our audience that, there we go, Happy Thanksgiving, woo! That the Conservative Corner, my friend Seth here, he told everyone not to talk about politics on Thanksgiving unless you have a very Republican family like myself. Unfortunately, I won't be with my immediate family. I'll be with half of them are liberals in Massachusetts on Thanksgiving, so I have to kind of mum's the word a little bit. But, I agree with you, Seth, that we shouldn't really talk about politics on Thanksgiving. We should be thankful, for me personally, I'm thankful to God, Hashem, my family. I am going to bring politics into this. I am thankful that President Trump will be back in the White House, God willing. I am thankful to all my friends, especially you, my second family in Maryland. And Seth, what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful I woke up on the right side of the dirt today, and I hope I do it again tomorrow. I'm thankful that I can connect with people on Sundays and with you, even if it's just one person. That's great. If I get one person to go, hey, Seth's not that big of a jerk. He's really making some sense today. That's great. I am super thankful for my family. I am and always will be drop dead in love with my son. I could not have asked or made for a better kid. Every day I get to spend with him is another day of just miracles. I'm in awe of what he does and how he does it and how he copes with all the crap that kids got to put up with in school. And somehow he maintains being a kid. He doesn't let it affect him. And I find that beyond admirable. Again, I'm in awe of him. My friends, my crew, the people that put up with me on a regular basis and go, oh, that's just Seth. I don't have the words. I appreciate what you do and how you do it and how you can deal with me and talk with me. Fred Proffer, the president of the club, just too many people, numerous people to name. I love everyone. I love you all. Even the idiots that come on here and spew their crap. I love you.
We love the anti-Semites.
Yeah, we love, I mean,
just kidding.
I understand maybe that they have some daddy issues or they were dropped on their head, and that's fine. I still love you. We're still human beings. We still got to cope with the same stuff. We still got to work. We still got to pay bills, and I love you for it. But yeah, Thanksgiving, don't talk politics. Really, there's nothing more important than family. And I don't know why you'd want to introduce a topic that would break a family up during a holiday that's about family. Don't do it. If Uncle Bill is a diehard liberal and his hair is blue and he's got a nose ring and he's talking about how great Kamala Harris is, just go, you're right, Uncle Bill. You're right. Can you pass the deviled eggs? Don't do it on Thanksgiving. Please, don't. It's not worth it. Politics are not worth it.
I do want to make the message, and this hurts. Jesse Waters, he's a big name on Fox News. His mother disinvited him from her Thanksgiving dinner because of his politics, because he voted for Donald Trump. I find that disgusting. That breaks up families.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, he's married with children. And, it puts his wife in a hard place, too, because, of course, she's going to go with her husband and side with her husband. And hopefully, her family is, conservative and they're going to have Thanksgiving dinner with her family. But it's stuff like that. We only have one mother. We only have one father. A mother never wants to lose her child before her. And life is very precious. And for you to say to your son or daughter, you can't be in my house because of your politics, you can't celebrate Thanksgiving with us because of your politics, you have to put that aside. You have to put that aside. It is your child. It's your child. You gave birth to him. As your child, I've invited Jesse Waters to my parents' home in Sarasota, Florida, if they want to go have Thanksgiving dinner with them. They're more than welcome to come. But it's, to me, like you said, take the politics out of Thanksgiving. Invite your children, invite your grandchildren, invite your mom, your grandfather, have sex with your husband, stop shaving your head, like all of this stuff, like have sex with your spouse, like, can we just have like a day of peace? Like, give thanks that you're married, give thanks that you had children, give thanks that, that you have grandchildren. It's very, very, very true. Elena said if they're devil eggs on the tail things, you have bigger things to fight about than politics. Yeah, she's right about that. I love devil eggs. But they're so good. But it's true. I mean, be nice to your, you only have, one mom, one dad, one grandparent. You only have as many children as you could have. Jesse Waters, his mother, should be grateful that her son is this, he's a big name on Fox News. She should just be happy for him. And put the politics aside. And that, that's my message. If you're having, issues or freaking out, like it's Thanksgiving, just like Christmas. And we're all going to say Merry Christmas soon anyway. It's coming back. Enjoy it. Okay. And I don't care if Christian people say Merry Christmas to me. It doesn't bother me. I've never had an issue with it because it is Christmas. I don't say happy holidays. To me, that's very cold. Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa. You're acknowledging each individual's holiday, each individual person's religion. We live in a country where we all, celebrate different religions. We all have different religions. We all can come together as one. And I've had friends, I've celebrated Christmas with them. They've come to my home. They've celebrated Hanukkah with me. That's how it should be. In Israel, and this, Seth, it's the one country where we celebrate all three religions together under the same umbrella, and it's beautiful. Yeah. So it's, again, like you said, Seth, put the politics aside. Be thankful that you have a family. Be thankful that you can go to a family for Thanksgiving, that you're not homeless, that you don't have to go to a homeless shelter. And Jesse Waters' mom, in my opinion, needs to put the politics aside, put her opinions aside, and I hate to say this expression, but I will, suck it up, Buttercup, and enjoy having her son and his wife and her grandchildren at the Thanksgiving dinner.
I completely agree.
That's the truth. Well, this has been a great hour. We talked a lot about politics, Thanksgiving, what we're thankful for in Frederick County, Frederick, Maryland. And we always love having the conservative corner on Seth Eisenberg every Sunday night at 7 p.m. We also have the Base Mother. We have Elena Barbara.
Yep.
We have her show. It's Friday nights at 9. I know she does other shows in the afternoon, I think at noon. And we also have Two Guys in a Coup. We have the Bearded Patriot every Tuesday night at 7 p.m.
Jersey Shore.
Shows. I'm sorry.
Jersey Shore.
Yep, Jersey Shore. Yeah, we have so many great with Damon Galdo. We have so many great shows on the Patriots Network. Again, we are independent journalists. President Trump wants us around him, doesn't want the mainstream media. We are not the mainstream media. We will never be the mainstream media because we tell it like it is and we are fair and balanced. And again, I'm Alexandra Levine with Alexandra 360. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot.